This is National 9 News with Peter Hitchener.
Human error blamed for the peak-hour crash on the Glen Waverley line. Good evening. At least 37 people were injured when two commuter trains collided at Syndal station. Dazed passengers stumbled from the trains, miraculously with only cuts and bruises. A full inquiry has been launched into the accident, but Premier John Cain says early investigations suggest human error was to blame. Gavin McDougall reports on our worst suburban train crash in years.
Today's accident came at the start of the morning peak. The 746 from Glen Waverley was stationary at Syndal when the other train, also bound for Flinders Street from Glen Waverley, ploughed into it from behind. Frightened passengers on both trains were thrown about by the impact as one of the carriages buckled beneath them.
You know, all I heard was someone yell out, "Oh no," and suddenly bang, and I mean the train, the floor started to crack like an earthquake and just went straight up.
I could hear it coming and I could see the guard waving with his hands to stop the train, to try and stop it, but he just came straight on.
9 ambulances rushed to tend the injured, more than a dozen of them school children. 24 people were taken to Box Hill and Dandenong hospitals and the Monash Medical Centre, while in the confusion, dazed passengers and relatives tried to comprehend what had happened.
Daddy wouldn't have been on it, love. He would have gone earlier. All right.
Many of the injured were able to be transported by an ambulance bus and were released from hospital soon after being treated.
Ambulance officers and police are stunned at how nobody was more seriously injured in what had the potential to be a major disaster.
I think this is a very lucky one. Very lucky one to go with 20 patients and all minor injuries.
The driver of the second train who rode out the crash also miraculously escaped serious injury. All emergency brakes had been applied to avoid a collision, and in the search for a cause, Met investigators have already ruled out signal failure.
The signals have been checked out and found to be working correctly, and the driver of the second train certainly had been alerted by the signalling system that there was a train ahead of him.
The train in fact stopped at that signal 640 metres from the platform, moved through the signal and stopped again. Then, in what the Met calls its routine stop and proceed rule, the train again moved towards Syndal, but this time it failed to stop. The stationary train had been delayed at the platform because of a fault with its doors. Services on the Glen Waverley line should be back to normal tomorrow. Ironically, today's crash happened as a draft report was released on a similar incident at Ringwood last month. Driver error has been blamed for that crash, in which 9 people were injured.